the future of transportation funding in the Commonwealth. I'm Jill Horner. This is Comcast Newsmakers. With me is Pennsylvania State Representative Gordon Denlinger. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
There are competing plans right now when it comes to transportation funding. The governor has put forward ideas. There's a Senate bill as well. Talk to us, though, about the overall needs when it comes to transportation and infrastructure in Pennsylvania.
Certainly, roads and bridges are a big issue, and we've known that for years. This is a system which receives over $6 billion a year currently in funding, but even at that level, we're underinvesting in it by about $3.5 billion in total. So where does that leave us? It leaves us with over 4,000 deficient bridges. Deficient means unsafe at some level. A lot of weight-restricted bridges, which hurts our commercial carriers. And then the roads that have potholes and all the rest of it, a lot of miles of under-maintained roads, so a lot of issues out there.
So we're talking about safety issues potentially, but we're also talking about quality of life for commuters and issues related to business for those who transport goods.
Absolutely. It's a huge issue and one of the core functions of government. We should say that. Government does a lot of things, but roads are right at the very basic level.
And let's talk about some of the ideas. The governor has put forward the idea of lifting the cap on the oil corporation franchise tax. Talk to us a little bit about what that could potentially mean.
Well, currently there is a wholesale level tax that goes up to $1.25 per gallon, but as we all know, the price of a gallon these days is above $3, probably, with a wholesale level about $3.10, $3.15, and a retail level of about $3.50 these days. What the governor's plan would do would be to phase out that wholesale level tax. So it's not a cents per gallon at the pump directly, but because the retailers would be paying it, they'll pass that on, quite frankly, to the consumer. So you could be talking about as much as 28 cents per gallon when this thing is completely phased out at the end of that 5-year period. So pretty significant bite, we should say, but again, it is a phased approach that the governor has. His total plan calls for $1.8 billion in additional funding.
$1.8 billion, but as you mentioned, the number is $3.5 billion on an annual basis or higher.
That's correct. That's what we're told by the experts.
The shortfall.
Correct.
And then let's talk a little bit about Senate Bill 1. This was introduced by Senator Rafferty. It's already passed out of the Senate Transportation Committee. This calls for some user fees on things like licenses and registration.
Correct. It is a more robust bill. In fact, its total funding is $2.6 billion. So 1.8 to 2.6, and the additional is made up by increases in car registration amounts. Currently we're at 36 for a passenger car. It would go to 50. There would be a 2-year provision in that, so you would only have to do that once every 2 years as opposed to annually. Added fees in terms of fines if you get pulled over, different things of that sort, which probably have their place. So that's how Senator Rafferty and the Senate side make up that difference, but a more robust bill.
And I want to quickly get to an idea that you've been talking about. You have an effort to tie any transportation package to prevailing wage reform. Why so?
Well, you know, if we're going to go to the taxpayer and say, you know, can we put some more money into this effort, I think we need the prevailing wage reforms to work the spending side of the equation. Prevailing wage laws in Lancaster County, my home county, for instance, add about 20 to 25% of the cost of every mile paved, every bridge project that you tackle. And so for that reason, I think if we can get those reforms in place, we can do a lot more with the dollars that we have.
Come back, give us an update, and let us know how this is all progressing.
I will.
Thank you. We've been talking to Pennsylvania State Representative Gordon Denlinger. I'm Jill Horner for Comcast Newsmakers.